Come correct or don't come at all.
This is the Hartzog Hustle Podcast.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
And we're talking about the hustle, strategy, and mindset you need to win in the areas of your finance, your purpose, and your future.
Know what I'm saying?
If you have heart and you want to learn how to activate the power of your hustle, then this is the podcast for you, baby. For you, baby.
Congratulations.
And now, your hosts, Anthony and Jhanilka Hartzog.
This is how it should be done.
Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the Hartzog Hustle Podcast. Our goal is to help 9-to-5ers create more impact, influence, and income outside of their jobs. We are your hosts, your grateful hosts, your gracious hosts.
Oh, grateful host. Go ahead.
We're grateful.
Say your name.
My name is Anthony Hartzog, and I'm joined here by my beautiful wife and co-host,
Jhanilka Hartzog. Thank you for coming back. Oh, my review of the day. Sorry, just thought about it. But on today's episode, we are going to be talking about 11 things we learned since podcasting. This is episode 50.
Episode 50,
Ooh.
50.
Confetti is going up, bombs are dropping, balloons is going. So we have been consistent with it. So we want to just drop some of the gems and some of the things we have learned since doing this thing.
And even if you don't have a podcast, this episode will be helpful to you, just so you can learn about some of the things that it does take to podcast. If you ever thought about doing one, even if you are doing one, maybe you can relate to it. Mm-hmm. And it also gives you a little bit of behind the scenes as to the work that it takes to consistently keep this show running. So we appreciate you guys being here, and let's get it.
Oh, man.
What happened?
I don't know what's happening. I was trying to get to my podcast, review of the day, but I can't get into it.
All right. While Jhanilka gets to the review of the week, go ahead.
Got it already.
If you guys are new here, or even if you're just now joining us, please, if you think this is a 5-star podcast, please rate us as such. It keeps us going, keeps us motivated, and it keeps us getting to, hopefully, episode 100.
Yes. So let me see. Let me start from here. Okay. This is Kay Duckworth. I love the podcast, your content on social media, and just you guys as people. Straight to the point. Love it, Kay Duckworth. Thank you so much for leaving us a review.
Yes, we appreciate that. So we're going to talk about 11 things that we learned as we went through this podcasting journey. And like we said, this could help you even if you do have a podcast, if you don't have a podcast, or if you just want to know what the hell it takes to keep this show running. So we've been doing this for almost a year. It hasn't been a year because we started at the end of 2021.
Yeah. No. It's like literally almost a year. I was showing you pictures today of our first recordings.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
A year and 50 episodes almost at the same time.
Yep. We decided last year we're going to drop it beginning of December, or I don't even remember the exact date that we dropped it, but got it together and got it done.
So why the hell did we even start a podcast? Why are we even here almost a year later, 50 episodes in?
One of the things that I would answer that isn't a list of things we've learned. But
okay.
I think we just felt like we had more things to share outside of us just sharing on Instagram Live, which will go away within 24 hours, or we don't really write blog posts or anything like that. So we just wanted to provide more information to people.
Yeah, and I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I feel like there was something that I enjoyed about hearing two perspectives of either the man or the woman or the husband and spouse, and just talk about life as they're going through it, and also business and entrepreneurship and everything we talk about. And I think that was missing, and I felt like we do kind of fill that gap where you bring two different perspectives, because usually it's a man and a man or a woman and a woman. Very rarely you get a man and a woman hosting a show.
Couples don't like to do a lot of things together. A
lot of couples don't like to do it. We do everything together, so I wonder what that makes us.
I don't know. I can't give you the answer, but yeah, a lot of couples don't like to do everything together, so I get it. But if you guys stay tuned as well, we had mentioned that we were going to Europe. At the end, we'll talk a little bit how that went. 2 weeks in Barcelona and Paris, so yeah, we'll share how that lovely Europe trip was. But the first thing that we have, number one, that we said of things that we've learned is being consistent and how that shows up in our life in different businesses. I think everyone speaks about being consistent and just do it. But literally, you have to be consistent. In order for us to put out 50 episodes, 1 episode a week, gonna be 52, gonna be 105, gonna be 200 at some point, you must be consistent. And consistency, we speak about that across when we talk about if we're not eating right, then we're not working out at the gym, then how it impacts just other parts of our life and our businesses if we aren't consistent in general.
Yeah. Well, that's with this podcast. I know They say the average podcast lasts about 7 episodes.
I thought that was a low number.
If you think about it, 7 episodes is potentially 7 weeks, which is potentially 7 recordings that a person did, and life happens. Life gets in the way, life gets challenging, and you're like, you know what? You don't see the fruits of your labor. That's 2 months. If you think about it, the average person doesn't complete a course, right? Mm-hmm. They said, I don't know what the percentage is, like 5% or 10% of people don't complete courses. So if you think about it that way, you have all the information in front of you. It takes you a couple hours to get this information, and people don't even do that. Mm-hmm. So imagine trying to do something consistently that takes a couple hours every single week for 2 months at a time.
Yeah, I mean, if you say it like that with the 2 months, 7 episodes seems a little small, but when you break it down to 2 months, then it does feel longer. It feels like, okay, that's enough time. Because, you say you try something out, right? 2 months is enough time and energy to figure out. I had a blog. It was called Mr. Delete the Debt. And it's funny, we just came up on, what happened? No, I was seeing if it was, I think it did way past 2 months.
Yeah, we did my blog for at least 6 months.
Yeah. It was a while.
I stopped there.
Yeah, but it's different. I mean, it's similar, I guess, in writing versus talking. I prefer to just talk, so I find talking easier. Somebody may find writing easy as well, but I prefer to just like get out my ideas. There's no, I think it's personally easier, but I can understand how for some it's not.
But you don't see that. So I was blogging for 6 months consistently, and we've been doing this for a year. People don't see the fruits of their labor for at least a year minimum. And we say 2 to 3 years to do something consistently before you start seeing true fruits of your labor. So if you kind of compare it to that, 7 episodes, 7 weeks, doing this for 50 episodes, and it's actually been more than 50 weeks. So doing this consistently for a year has been absolutely game changer for us.
So being consistent, that is really it. Getting it done. We have been, if you've been keeping up with us, we have been traveling. We had a baby that's 8 months old. There's work. There's family things that happen. But we remain consistent with this as we prioritize it. We prioritize it, and we want to put out the information. We feel like it's valuable information. So consistent is number one. The second thing we have down is that we have a lot to talk about. We learn we have a lot to talk about. I know sometimes it feels like when we're trying to think of topics or things that we should share with you guys, we're like brainstorming. Feels like a long time. Like, we didn't come up with a topic yet. What are we going to discuss? Mm-hmm. But we have a lot to talk about. We do a lot of things when it comes to businesses. We also have our personal life. We also have a daughter, 9 to 5, just things in general. And we have a lot to discuss. That I learned, which I didn't think that we would. I'm like, I think we're going to run out. We'll see when it's episode 1,000 if we still feel that way. But we have a lot to talk about. That's number 2 that we realized.
Yeah, I think that one is
straight to the point.
So this one is another straight to the point one. So just do it. Put it out there. If you help one person, we have done our job. Mm-hmm. I know when it comes to content, we overthink a lot of it. Even when we think about this, when we think about where we are now with podcasting. So when we first started, we were recording in a studio. We were paying $150 maybe or so per session. We were trying to do a couple sessions a day, something like that. So we were spending
hours there,
a couple $100. And when Alani came, one of our challenges was going to be getting down to that studio whenever we wanted to. So when we did have Alani, it was a lot easier to get up and just go to the studio. So a lot of things we were overthinking. We were overthinking. Again, we talk about this all the time. We were like, we didn't overthink the logo. It's literally our name. No,
we didn't overthink that.
We didn't overthink the cover. It's literally a picture of us. We didn't overthink anything that was going to take us a long time to get this up and running. What we did overthink was the setup when we bought it in-house. We saw what people were doing, and we said, you know what? Let's just kind of write down a list of things. And I think we did get this done pretty quickly.
Yeah, maybe 2 weeks.
We were overthinking the idea for 2 years.
Yeah, of doing a podcast.
Yeah.
That was a long time coming, definitely. Just doing it and putting it out there and perfecting it as you go along, like anything. We speak about that. How I started is not going to be how I'm going to look a year, 2, 3 years in, and that's okay. But just doing it, and then I think that I think at least when we started the page and started sharing information, we also were saying things like who's going to even want to hear about it, like who's gonna listen, but we've realized in our years of sharing that if you're impacting one person, we've done our job. just one person, we've done our job. And so when we look at things like that, then there's nothing stopping us, because I'm positive that you can impact at least one person.
And think about that too. If you put information out there, one of my boys, I was just talking to him. He literally was overthinking like this concept he wants to do. He wants to create a course to help people do something that he was already doing. And I'm like, bro, just put it out there. Trust me. If you help one person, that means there's 2 people that you can help. There's 4 people. There's 8 people that you can help. If you get one person to do it and you get to help them to get to where you are, you've done your job. And he was overthinking. I'm like, yo, I don't want to hear nothing until you implement it. I was like, you got 30 days, which is way too much.
It's not way too much. For someone that's never done a course or never done a business or anything like that, it's not way too much. Let's be clear.
The goal was for him to stop overthinking it. And
Right.
I think that's why I'd rather you just do it. And then you could kind of make changes as you go along. Because a lot of times we want to overthink this
We're going to
process.
hold back, yeah.
So he did
Name,
it in
website.
30 days. He did $10,000, which I thought was amazing. But again, it was just like, yo, just put it out there. Figure it out later. Figure it out as you go. It talk about like jumping out the airplane without a parachute and build
Yeah.
the parachute on the way down.
Okay, well, that's a bit too much. I think that's over exaggerating. You're gonna die. But yes, so that's number 3. Just do it, put it out there, and if we're helping one person, we've done our job. And I feel the same way about whatever you may put out there. If you're podcasting, if it's a course, if you're selling something, if you're helping one person, you're doing your job. Number 4. About things we learned since podcasting. Learn how to become a better listener, which this one was actually funny for me. Not funny, but interesting for me, because we always used to talk about me cutting him off in the podcast.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I'm a therapist, so I actually listen probably more than many people do in a lot of sessions and things like that. So that's something that I had to do, learn to become a better listener. Podcasting with my husband, that was specific for me, at least.
With me, that one meant just now I realize when I'm talking to people, I'm asking them more questions too.
Okay.
So it's like I don't feel like I'm interviewing people as we're going along, but I feel like I'm just asking them more questions, kind of get to whatever the purpose of the conversation is. So I think it makes you a better listener by sitting there listening to someone talk. So
Yeah. With us listening to each other, and we've had guests on the podcast too. So I guess knowing when to interject, things like that, not listening just to respond, basically.
that's a hard one. Not listening to respond too, because when you
Just to respond, not that you don't listen to respond.
yeah, that's a hard one
Why?
because that's
the point of a conversation.
No. I'm learning to try to stop doing that, but I'm saying that's just a hard one to get over because you're always listening with the intent to have a response to whatever the person's saying. Sometimes I just sit there and I realize that I'm just sitting there and listening, not just with you, just in general, but that has helped me in conversations outside of what we're doing here today. So,
Yeah. Number 5, we can always reference it back for people to listen to. We don't got to reinvent the wheel. So that, I think, goes into when you overthink it, right? And you're constantly saying, what can I do new? What can I do? We can reference back a lot of this information because we've spoke about it in detail. So times people are asking us questions that we may answer all the time. How do we start our cleaning business? That would be episode 10. And we can just give it to them. It's an hour plus of gems and information they can listen to. Or how do I run a business with my couple? That's episode with my spouse. Episode 15. So having that information handy, because information ain't really going to change from year to year. It's probably going to remain 99% the same. So we can always just drop that information, and I think that that's helpful too, because we get some of the same questions a lot of times.
yeah. No. I'm thinking because I'm always, that's why I try to create content around things that people are asking us. So when we started changing, we're content creators at this point. I think we're a media company. We have the podcast, we got the video, and this is also audio. So we're a media company. So when people ask questions, I think that gets started in the bang. It's all right, is this a good question that we can answer on the podcast, or is this a good? Do we already answer this like you said? Can we create more content around it? Can we go deeper into the topic? So those are all good reference points to get content for people to kind of help them answer their questions or help them along where they are in their journey.
Agreed. Number 6, we get to document our journey. Document the journey. I think it's fun to look back at. We started our social media page in 2017, and just seeing some of the I mean, Instagram and social media changes as well through the years, but just seeing some of the things we posted, the video we posted, how we look, what we say, before in 2017, we were doing YouTube videos, but we were doing it on our phone and we were looking down like this.
Yeah, that was crazy.
And so we're like, what were we doing? But we were just putting it out there. And now we could document the journey and look back at that. And same thing with this. We're going to say a year from now, we should have better lighting, or that looks a little shady, whatever the case may be. So documenting the journey has been helpful in this day and age where we're constantly using our cameras and phones. I think that it's important.
Yeah, that's a fun one too. I remember when we were looking at this video. It always pops up on Facebook memories, because Instagram doesn't do like memories or anything like that. But Facebook
the stories they do.
Oh, the stories.
Yeah, the stories.
They don't show that for me. They should show it for you.
You have to go into it actually.
Oh, I don't look for it.
Yeah.
So Facebook has these memories, and they'll show you 5 years ago, 10, 15 years ago. So we started our page in 2017, the Hartzog, and like you said, we'll be looking down, the lighting will be off. But it's always fun to look at where we were and where we are today.
The information was good though.
The information was. We'll even go back and this is a good topic.
Something to talk about.
Let's recreate that topic or kind of go into more detail of that. So looking back on a journey allows you to know, where you were, where you are today, and also you could kind of see where you're going. When we were in 2017, I don't think we knew we would have a podcast.
No.
But if we kept going, things would start to evolve, and you never know what this may even turn into. So.
Right. I don't even think Instagram had video at the time, or if it did, it was only 30 seconds. It was.
No,
I feel like I'm aging myself with it, but yeah, things have changed, and so we are able to document the journey.
But then also with the documented journey, we're documenting our own personal journeys, not just the video content, audio content, but actually what we're going through in life.
And what we said, what the goal was, what's changed, have we reached it, all those things.
Yeah, because I always say go back and look at the person that you're following on social media. I know things may seem great now, but where were they, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 7 years ago? Find out what they were doing to get to where they are today. Because everybody didn't just pop up, recently, especially if you've been creating content for a while. Mm-hmm. You didn't just pop up today. So find out what their journey was. With us, you could go back and literally see us trying to pay off debt. You can literally see us, picking up extra jobs. You can literally see us renting out cars. You can literally see us watching dogs. You can literally see our journey to millionaire status, to our first rental property, to our first $1 million business, to our second $1 million business. Mm-hmm. So you can see us throughout our journey. So we talk about documenting the process. That's exactly what we're talking about too. Kind of creates a legacy, if you will.
Yeah, in a video form maybe.
Yeah.
Or picture form, if you will. That was number 6, I think so, yes. So number 7 of things we learned since podcasting, it helps you to become a better speaker, similar to being a better listener. You're speaking a lot.
Word.
Especially the times when we used to go in and do like 3 episodes. We used to be doing, and our episodes last usually between 45 to an hour. So yeah, there's no option but to become a better speaker. That's something, and we will go back and listen and say, we said that too much, or we said too much, or we need to work on this. So becoming a better speaker, I would say, is something that we learned since podcasting.
And I don't think people realize how hard this is too.
What do you mean?
Just kind of talking, and you're not talking. You're talking to people with the intention of listening down the line. But us sitting here recording right now, there's literally no one on the other end of this.
We hope you're getting it. Hope it's interesting. Hope it's engaging. Yeah.
At least with you do like YouTube Live or Instagram Live, there are other people there. If you do live speaking engagements, you have some points of reference. You have some interactions. You could ask people questions. They can respond. It's call and response. With us, when you're sitting here recording a podcast, especially if it's not live, a live podcast, you're literally sitting here. In some instances, you're talking to yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, we get each other to talk to, which is fantastic.
But then, what about the time you do your episodes?
Those are hard. Yeah. If you guys, I'm also curious what you guys think about anti-advice too. Like,
you haven't really promoted that or anything.
I just started doing it.
Yeah.
Those are really, really hard. It's only 5-minute episodes, and I do those every Friday of anti-advice, and it's just me giving just some advice and things that we've experienced or I've personally experienced that can help you in business, relationship, or life. And those episodes are really hard, and it does help you become a better speaker.
Yeah, because you're by yourself.
You're by yourself. You got to get to the point, and I'm only doing it within 5 minutes, so I got to condense the conversation down to just a few points. So I think podcasting does help you become a better speaker. So if you're someone who's interested in finding ways to learn how to be a better public speaker, I think this does help in a way. It is not as easy, or it's not as hard as speaking in front of a room of 100, 200,000 people, obviously, but this does help you kind of create points, condense conversations, and being able to get your ideas and thoughts out there for people to consume.
Yep. Number 8, coming up with topics ain't always easy. So I know at the beginning we spoke about like we're gonna constantly we have a lot to talk about, but sometimes it feels like, do I want to share that on the podcast, right? Or is that something that people have heard from us already? Or is it too similar to this topic? We're like, but that was episode 2. We're on episode 50. Maybe people are referencing back to that, right? Maybe, we can talk about it again. Or is it interesting enough? Is it captivating enough? Is it too specific that this would only pertain to a small percentage of people that listen to us or subscribe to us? So those are some of the things that go through our mind when we think about what we're going to speak about. So it's not always easy because then you have a topic and then we also want to have bullet points so we're not just babbling, right? So we want to come on and be prepared the same way we are with everything else. We want to be prepared. So coming up with topics ain't easy.
Yeah, that is. So, yeah, that one, I guess I'll leave that one alone.
You don't got nothing else to say with that?
No.
Okay.
So, this is another one. So, when we first started podcasting, this is number 9. So, another stream of income for us. Eventually, not today. We make no money from this show.
Yeah.
How many
So
people
you showed up for a year making no money?
We've been doing this for a year, and we can't say we've made a single dime. So, this is a good. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying we didn't make any direct money from it, but with people listening, people have gone on to do our virtual assistant services, or maybe have gone on to buy the course. So it's not direct money, but in some way, it's impacted other ways.
Quick commercial break. If you guys didn't know, we own a 7-figure cleaning business. Our goal is to help you start, scale, and grow a cleaning business without cleaning any houses. Check out cleaningbusinessuniversity.com, where we're going to walk you A to Z on how to set up your business structure, to how to find your first client and your first contractor so that you don't have to do the work yourself. Check out cleaningbusinessuniversity.com. So when it comes to another stream of income, this is not streaming. This income stream is not streaming. So this is essentially a hobby at this point right now.
Aww.
Yes, it does help
it downplays it.
It does help us do what we're going to be doing anyway, which is creating content. So this has helped us create more content. We don't have to think about the content we're going to do because we know that
We sat down and
at least once a week we're going to sit down and do this podcast, and that kind of helps us chop up the video. We got clips, we got audio, we got video. We can put on different platforms. But down the line, we know that podcasting is $1 billion because you see people like Joe Rogan make a couple $100 million. You got
couple $100 million.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
Yeah, you got Gillian Waller. They've just signed up $100 maybe $200 million contract.
Wow.
For podcast. So the money is there.
How do you get that?
That's the goal.
You just gotta how do they get to that point? Like people just stream them, downloads. Like what do they need to qualify for $200 million?
That's the goal.
You don't know what it is. It's just the goal. Okay, got it.
So again, we've been doing this for a year. So can you do something? Number one, being consistent. What we said was the first thing that this kind of helps you do. Can you be consistent for a year, 50 plus episodes in? This is the 50th episode, the live one, but 50 episodes in for a year plus without getting paid. How many people could say they could do something for a year without getting paid? This is an unpaid internship, essentially.
Not an internship. Wow, you're killing me here. You go from it's a hobby to unpaid internship. I am years removed from interning, but
but you listen. We know the benefits of what this
they'll
could
pay
bring.
off.
So now our goal in year 2 is start to figure out how to create different revenue streams from this show, from this platform. We've also hired coaches and teachers to help us kind of craft this in a more direct way for our audience so that we can continue to grow and scale it. How many people could do something for a year without getting paid?
Obviously us. 'Cause here we are.
So
Here we
again, this
are.
will be another stream of income, but not right now. I made it sound so bad.
Aww. I don't think it's bad. I think if you enjoy it, we actually enjoy it. I don't think that podcasting is something that you can enjoy and continue to do. I think it will start to show and you'll hate it. You're talking a lot. It takes a lot of energy to just talk.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of energy, mental space, time to block out the time to come up with the information, then set up, and then,
I don't even want to
execute
tell
it.
you what it took us to get right here today, just now. So
Yes.
It was a struggle to get Jhanilka here today.
It's been a whirlwind, if you will. Our lives has been a whirlwind, if you will.
So think about something like even when we have our students, it's like, all right, guys, you haven't even been doing this for a year, and you sitting there talking about how much money can I make? When am I going to make the money? I was like, I get it. I understand you're starting something with the intention of making money, but that can't be the immediate goal.
The only thing.
That can't be the only goal. That can't be the immediate goal. And if you're able to do something for a couple years without getting paid, I promise you, when you start to get paid, it will pay off.
Okay. Number 10, you're gonna have to read this one because this was something that you had liked.
Oh, yeah.
I don't remember where you read it from.
So practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. I want to repeat that. You know, people say, "Oh, practice." No, practice makes perfect. Practices doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect.
All right, explain.
So you can't just. So if I go to the gym, right, and I'm shooting. I'm just in the gym just shooting, right?
A basketball.
Okay, we're talking about basketball.
They can't see you. You just over here shooting.
If you watch this on YouTube, I'm mimicking a basketball shot. So I want to explain this, and I want to explain it so you guys get it. So if you go to the gym and people say, "Oh, just keep practicing, and you'll eventually get perfect at it." No, perfect practice makes perfect. So if I go to the gym, I'm just shooting. If I'm shooting wrong in the wrong direction in the wrong area for a year, I'm going to be in that same spot a year later.
Good reference.
It's not going to get better if I'm got the wrong form. I got the wrong shooting arm. I'm shooting in the wrong direction. It's never going to get perfect. I have to do perfect practice. So that means I have to be directed in the right area. I have to do the right shooting form. I have to do the right technique. And I have to do that over and over and over again to make perfect. So practice doesn't make perfect.
So in that case,
perfect practice makes perfect.
In that case, it's kind of like with us. If we're doing a podcast and we're doing things wrong, audio, lighting, topics, whatever, we could do 75 episodes and they all wrong. Then it's like you would say that you were practicing to make yourself better listener, better speaker, but things aren't going well. But until we speak to someone or just gain more knowledge and we fix it, then we are doing it correctly.
Exactly. You can't just sit there and do the same thing wrong 100 times thinking it's going to eventually get corrected.
Because I'm practicing.
You're practicing wrong. So, like, we brought somebody in, and they was like, you guys are doing great. Here's a few tweaks.
Yeah.
Now, those few tweaks may not change the direction as to what we're going in terms of moving the whole ship, but it might point us in the right direction. So if we're shooting on the left, we might move a little bit more to the right to kind of get there. It's closer to the basket. So you can't just say I'm practice makes perfect. No, perfect practice makes perfect.
Love it that you were able to explain it because the reading is a tongue twister. So I had you do it. And number 11 of things we learned since podcasting, we like interviewing people. Maybe one day we'll have our own show. I see podcasting, it is a show, and it is a show, I would say, because it's cameras, lighting, you're sitting, you're watching me. I don't know if that's a definition of a show, but I'm going to say that's the definition of a show. It's not as big maybe as a talk show, but we enjoy interviewing people. We've had maybe just 6 people on, and we've had discussions about getting people back on, and maybe eventually we will, but we do enjoy speaking to people, gaining that knowledge, sharing it with you guys. I find those very fun and interesting.
Yeah, those episodes, I think those episodes
could be
dope.
the people.
I think one of the reasons we came back in-house and kind of focused on ourselves because obviously Alani and getting
it's harder.
Alignment with the scheduling of guests was like, sometimes it was like unheard of.
Yeah, we were like a month and a half, 2 months out, which I get it because our schedule is busy too.
Our schedules have been crazy. So we said, let's focus on ourselves. Let's kind of get our topics down. Let's focus on where we are today to kind of grow and scale this thing, and then kind of get to that point where we start bringing guests back on.
Right.
But I think that does bring a different element. A lot of shows do guests, but I do like the element where it's just us talking to each other. Maybe we have different segments of the show where we bring guests in, every 2, 3, 4, or 5 episodes, something like that. So that is fun, but you have to figure out the structure that works best for where you are in that season.
Yeah. Or for our people that listen as well. Like, do you guys like the guests, or do you just want to hear us? Some people, like, I don't want to hear nobody else. I came to hear you. Who knows? Or maybe you don't want to hear, you're tired of hearing about us. Who knows? And you want more guests. So we do enjoy speaking to people, but I think in general we're pretty social people. But when we started interviewing, we're like, oh, we really like this. Mm-hmm. We come up with the questions and everything like nothing when it comes to a guest coming on. It's real easy. So
Yeah, because I think you have to have a genuine curiosity as to what the person's doing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It could be the people as well.
So when you really have a curiosity as to what they're talking about, sometimes it's just conversation just for you. It's like, I want these gems, I want this information, I want to know how the hell you done that. So it's like I'm asking questions for myself, but you guys get to listen in or watch us as we do it, which is just a shout out to you. You get to get the free game, but it was really for me most of the time.
It's really for me. Oh, you're selfish.
Most of the time.
Most of the time it's for me. So those are the 11 things we've learned since podcasting. Like we said, this is episode 50. We want to thank you guys for constantly showing up, subscribing, watching, commenting, writing the reviews, all of the above. We engage back in our comments as well. So thank you. I know sometimes we kind of feel like, oh, our numbers are kind of low, or how can we fix this? How can we do that? But you guys have been consistent since we showed up a year ago.
Yes. So if you guys stop what you're doing, go and leave us a 5-star review. We feel like we're a 5-star podcast. Yeah. Give us that as a gift. If you haven't done it before, give it to us as a
free
gift. Drop us that's one way you can support us. Drop a 5-star review on your favorite platform. If you listen to this on the Apple streaming platform, go drop us a 5-star review. If you're watching this on YouTube, go leave a comment, subscribe to our page. You could also share this out with someone that you feel would get the gems, get the knowledge, as someone that you feel like could get this information and it would help them along the way. So
right. But as promised, we said we were going to speak about how our Europe trip was, which the goal is to eventually get a vlog out. But let me tell you, Charles, it's a lot of work. But either way, we were in Barcelona and Paris. Barcelona for my dad's wedding. We were there for about a week. In Paris for about 4 days. And it was a good time. Alani did great on the flights.
How long was that
flight? Going, we had to stop in Madrid. So that was like 8 hours, and then Madrid to Barcelona was like an hour or less. Yeah. But coming back, we did it direct from Paris, and that was like 10 and a half hours.
That was crazy.
So, yeah.
That's the longest flight, right?
That was the longest flight that we've taken.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. We went to Morocco, but I think it stopped. But yeah, it's the longest flight we've taken direct. So yeah.
Yeah, we were in Europe. I've never been to Europe, number one. So I thought Spain was pretty. Spain was okay. We did a tour. It was all right.
Yeah.
Spain was we was there for the weddings. We spent a lot of time in the villa. Your father, he had a huge villa for about 20, 30 of us. We stayed with the family. We ate, we drank.
For like 5 days. So
that was really the bulk of Spain.
It was. We didn't really get to tour Barcelona like that. We did one tour, but I agree. We didn't get to tour Barcelona like that.
Now, Paris was a different.
Paris was a good time. Paris is... I mean, I don't know if you want to say New York City, but Paris is a city. It's a city. It's bustling. There's things happening. We did, I want to say everything, but not even everything, because we didn't look at it. We were only there for 4 days, so there's so many other places that we could have went to. Saw the Eiffel Tower, of course. Up close, it's literally, how would you describe it? Like I don't know, a tall building that looks like it needs to be cleaned. I don't know.
A tall open building.
Tall open building, kind of.
I would say a tall open building.
Yeah.
Mona Lisa was very underwhelming.
Oh, but we got to saw her. We got to see her. That was exciting.
I think.
Which I didn't know the Louvre was the biggest museum in the world. Didn't know that at all. So I know that.
How many years did it take to build it?
Oh, God. He's obsessed with this number.
What's the number?
800 years.
So let's go back to the gems of podcasting, being consistent. We've been doing this for a year. Imagine building something for 800.
But it wasn't the same person, so it's not the same feeling.
It was passed down from generation to different leaders. Yeah. Imagine building something that you know you will never see the end of. That is the
definition of legacy and wealth, generational wealth.
generational building. Imagine building something for 800 years that you knew at the end of the day you would never see the end of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. It's crazy, but I enjoyed the museum. There's no way we got to see the entire museum at all, but it still was a good time. And we took some pictures out there in Paris. We did some shopping. We did all the Paris things. We made a perfume out there. So it was really a good time. Like I said, more details on that in the vlog, which I wish we can put in the show notes, but not yet. You just got to listen up or be on our YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube so you can see it.
If you subscribe to our YouTube, you'll definitely see it. And you'll get all the visuals, not just for that, but you get the visuals for the podcast too if you're more of a visual, visual learner.
And I was already like, all right, when are we going back to Paris? Let's do it. let's go back next year. Let's go back. But then even being there made me think about there's so many places in Europe that we just haven't even tapped into. Italy has multiple places that we would want to go, like visit probably 5 different times because there's so many things to do everywhere. So we need to get into that Europe market. We usually be in the Caribbean market, but we need to be in the Euro market.
Caribbean market is a lot closer.
A lot closer and a lot cheaper.
Expensive.
Let's be clear. A lot closer and a lot cheaper. So I understand it.
Yeah, that flight. Yeah, I would definitely go back. I would definitely go back. I think we got to figure out flying arrangements. I think
Flying arrangement, meaning specifically Alani.
because she's getting older now. So now,
getting older.
you know,
She's
you guys
moving
see
more.
she's been on 25 flights at this point, 30 flights at this point. So she's getting, everyone says, oh, it's easy to travel with kids, which I understand. You get the parents who say it's very hard to travel with kids, which I understand. And now seeing
In between, she's
in between
transitioning.
when they start getting more engaged and involved and active, it becomes a little bit harder to travel with kids because they are
Them seats is
constantly
small.
moving on the flights. So I'm like, we got to do first class every time we travel because I don't want to sit in these small seats with Alani.
You got to keep your hand like this because you don't want her to kick the other person or her head is going back.
It becomes a little bit more difficult when the older she gets.
Yeah,
And the
and
more
I'm like-
attentive she gets.
when she starts walking, what is this going to be? Because I can't even.
I have no idea what to tell you guys when that happens.
I can't even. But that was the trip. We enjoyed it. We are slowing down, coming to the end of the year. A few trips to New York we got, but no more international trips, which I'm fine with. The past, I think, 2 years we've traveled for my birthday, but we ain't doing that this year, which I'm totally fine with. I'm tired of traveling. So
Yeah.
but thank you so much for listening to the 11 things we learned about podcasting. Once again, leave us a review, subscribe, make sure you come back again with us. And it's episode 50. Let's give ourselves a round of
50,
applause since
and
we don't have no bombs to drop.
No bombs yet. 50 episodes, let's get some bombs. And we always want to shout out our sponsors, Melanin Money. They've been keeping us fresh with our brilliant black billionaire in the making shirts. You guys could join them at melaninmoney.com/join. Use code HUSTLE for 15% off of their merch. They got the Melanin Millionaires Club, and they also got their podcast. Check the Melanin Millionaires podcast out too. They've been keeping us fresh for the last couple episodes. So
Yes.
appreciate them. I appreciate our sponsors. If you're interested in sponsoring this podcast, hit us somewhere. You guys know where to find us.
Somewhere. I'm about to say Lincoln, but it's not linked below.
Comment if you guys are interested. You guys follow us on Instagram. Let us know if you want to sponsor any episodes, man. We're looking for sponsorships as
And
we
guests.
go into year 2, as we go into episode 50 to 100.
And monetizing and everything. So
All right, guys.
have a good one.
Peace.
This has been an episode of the Hartzog Hustle Podcast. We hope you enjoyed. Be sure to rate and review this podcast on your favorite listening platform. And follow Anthony and Jhanilka on Instagram at The Hartrimony. That's TheHartrimony. Keep hustling, baby. Keep hustling, baby.
Get that money. Get that